Next reason that I talk about in Get Organized God's Way, which is also incredibly important on the day-to-day lifestyle, is that your ability to hear God awakens. Many of my clients have sometimes expressed there is too much clutter in a given space. They find it hard to hear or concentrate. And maybe that's you. Maybe you feel like there's so much noise in the room. Remember that clutter is energy. You may not hear it physically, you may not feel it physically, but it affects us in ways that our mental and emotional state picks it up. And how people express this to me is that when they enter into the space, that it is so noisy that they can't even stay in the space. Physical clutter creates visual noise. Therefore, the easiest way to bring down the visual noise from your life is to remove the clutter. This example of my client, Josh, who said, there's one place in my home that I do my best thinking. And I said, where is that, Josh? He goes, it's when I get up in the morning and I take a shower. Maybe that's you. Because in my shower, I have just what I need. There's no clutter around. The water on my head is like, it's so clearing, so clarifying. It's like I can hear, I can understand things in my shower that I don't hear or understand the rest of the day. And so I says, yeah, that's what I want you to experience when you walk out of your shower and the rest of your home, so that you not only hear and understand the concepts for your day in the shower, but it's everywhere. And he goes, all right, Eileen, I get it. I'm sold. This is great. Let's go. He says, because that's what clutter does. Remember that God does not shout at us. He has a still small voice. He's such a gentleman. He's never going to hit you over by the 2x4 and say, you have to do this today. It doesn't work that way. Holy Spirit comes in and speaks softly to us. And when we are in a room filled with clutter that's shouting of us, there is no way we're going to hear it. There's a book out there by Dottie Schmidt. I actually got baptized in her church in Maryland, in Silver Spring, Maryland. That's a whole other story. But she wrote here in her book, Stand on My Shoulders, Treasures from the Secret Place of His Heart. She says that as we cultivate a daily time of solitude and soaking in his loving presence, that the Holy Spirit opens up to us to rich treasures of his heart. Outward silence is certainly easier to obtain than the deep inner place of quiet and stillness. But this place of inner quiet is a prerequisite of hearing the voice of God. So inside of us has to be quiet before we can hear his voice. She then goes on to saying that as we begin to hear his still small voice, we will anticipate his daily presence. But hearing his voice comes with great inner awareness. All right, so inner awareness is extremely important to hearing his Holy Spirit's voice. She also points out that getting outward silence is also a key element. They go hand in hand. In other words, if there is outward screaming from the clutter, the inward silence that it takes to hear Holy Spirit is not going to happen. She says they go hand in hand. The outward has to be silent so that the inward can hear. And I got it from that perspective. Now, many people may not have understood this in terms of the clutter that is around them because she did not go into that. But I can tell you with full 100% awareness that if your outward clutter is affecting you in ways that will affect your inward silence to be able to hear Holy Spirit. In Mark 4-9, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. Do you have the ears to hear the Lord, as he wants to speak to you on the day-to-day? Or are you so distracted by the clutter that is around you that it is impossible for you to see and understand Holy Spirit's purpose? I had a person in ministry come to me not that long ago, and she said, Eileen, before I cleared up my space in my office, which is where she would minister to other people, she said, I had books everywhere, I had my papers everywhere. She says, and one day a person came in and was sitting across from me in the chair. And I noticed a wrapping paper behind her chair. And as she was talking to me, all I kept thinking was, I hope she didn't see the wrapper as she walked in. That took my head off from hearing what she had to say, even if it was just for 5 seconds, because the room was so disorganized that I could not concentrate on her words. I didn't realize that until after I got it organized, or at least when I started getting it organized. You don't have to get it perfect. Like I said before, it's never going to be perfect. But as she started getting her room organized, she began the understanding that listening to those that she was ministering to was taken to a new level, to that next level. And she said, Eileen, I would never have realized that if I had not heard you. And I want to thank you for allowing the peace that comes into a room when it is in order, or when it is more in order than it was.